Our next presenter from McDermott International. You know, McDermott is a leading provider of integrated engineering, procurement, construction, and installation services for offshore and subsea field developments, operating in 20 countries worldwide. They deliver fixed and floating production facilities, pipelines, and subsea systems from concept to commissioning, and they help oil companies safely produce and transport hydrocarbons. So joining us today from McDermott is Wasim Khan, Vice President of Global Engineering. Wasim is going to share with us how they're using the platform as the single source of truth to transform their business and disrupt the industry. So, Wasim, welcome to the stage. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with a mea culpa, a confession and an admission of guilt. The oil and gas industry doesn't really like change. We're not into this digital stuff, this transformation, Industry 4.0, the cloud, and so on. What we believe in is what we invent ourselves. Because, you know, let's be honest about it. All of you sitting in this room, you don't have very much to offer us. I mean, we've been around, we've been producing oil for 150 years. We'll probably produce it for another 150 years. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wasim Khan. I'm the Global Head of Engineering in McDermott. We've already introduced McDermott, so we've been around 94 years. So why the heck do we need to change? 94 years is a long time. How many of the people in this room are working in companies which have been around 100 years? That's 1, 2, 3. See, why do we need to change? We're brilliant. We do everything right. So then one day, we realized in McDermott that the industry does need to change. The days of $140 oil is well and truly gone. Oil is at 55, 60 today, with renewables coming online, with cars in Europe becoming more and more focused on electrical rather than petrol engines. We do need to change. And what we need to do is bring a sustainable transformation in the cost structure of the upstream oil and gas industry. We need to adapt the technologies that all of you have, the automotive, the aerospace, the healthcare, and the retail. And the way we have chosen to do it is to design all of our facilities around a digital twin. A digital twin is a digital representation, a manifestation of the actual physical facility. So it looks like the physical facility. But more than that, it has all the attributes of the physical facility. And how we are doing it is we are taking all of our normal authoring tools, what you see on the top, the tools we use, the software we use to design our structure, to design compressors, to design control systems. All of those we will use in an integrated manner. But the real difference, what we're trying to bring to the industry, is to use these tools as a feed-in into a PLM. Now, most of you know a PLM as a product lifecycle management tool, but we renamed it. And we're lucky because project also starts with a P. So it has now become for us a project lifecycle management tool. A PLM typically is used when you build to stock. We build everything bespoke. But we believe that using the Dassault Systèmes 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and remember, we've been building platforms for 95 years. It's just that ours are made originally of wood, now of steel. But using the Dassault Systèmes platform, we are bringing all data into one single place. And we are then using that data, the information, to improve our work processes to the extent that we can deliver facilities faster, we can deliver them with fewer mistakes, and we can deliver them at a lower cost. What we do is produce within the Dassault system a new way of doing engineering. So the Dassault Systèmes, the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, our digital twin, allows all of the users access to the same information database. So the project manager, the project engineer, the mechanical engineer, the client's consultants, everyone is looking at the same information user interface. The information they may see may differ on the screen, but the source of information is the same, the single source of truth, which we believe is absolutely essential if we are to achieve efficiencies in the industry. Within the platform, we can measure progress, we can see where all the data, where all the information is, and I think which is really a game changer, in which Dassault Systems is probably more advanced than any of the peer group in the industry, is the ability to visualize. Our brains are tuned to work in 3D. We can understand things when we see a 3D picture, a real-life picture. When we look at an Excel spreadsheet, we look at a document, a Word document, for us to be able to construct an image is very difficult. Put all that information in a 3D platform, put all that information in a digital model, give someone some fancy glasses, and you can visualize how liquids are flowing through a pipe. You can visualize how data is being generated from a compressor. A typical offshore facility has in excess of 150,000 tags. So 150,000 distinct pieces of equipment. How we have built our digital twin, and we are using the collaboration between McDermott and Dassault Systèmes. So how we have built it is that everything for us is tag-centric. So we generate a tag as a piece of pipe, it can be a pump, it can be an instrument, and then we associate with that tag all of the information you will ever need for the life of that tag. So you can have, during the design stage, the progress of manufacturing for the tag. You can have design data for the tag. You can know where that piece of material is. Is it in transit? Is it at the warehouse? Is it in the yard about to be fabricated? Again, everything is sitting in one single place. One thing that the PLMs do very well is part management. One thing that the oil and gas does very poorly is part management. We have a yard in Jebel Ali, which at the beginning of last year had well over $7 million of surplus material, pipes, flanges, cables, because how do we manage materials? When something changes, we normally tend to forget to cancel the previous order, and we go ahead and order some more. And then when we order some more, we order more than we need, and for the next project, we order some more again. So what happens? In 5 years, we've got surplus material which we sell for 10 cents on the dollar. So there's your obvious savings. If you can manage your parts like parts are managed in the aerospace industry, in the automotive industry, in retail, if you can manage parts like Amazon manages its goods, they all sell us, we could save millions of dollars in the industry. And the part management is not just management of the physical part, it's management of the documents related to that part. So with that part, we've associated documents. It's management of changes related to the part. And if the part is used on one project, we can use it on another project. We can actually physically see the part. There's a 3D simple rendering of that part on the same screen that we're looking at. We know where the part is. We know the design documents for the part. We know the expediter assigned to make sure the part gets delivered on time. We have all the inspection data of the part. We know what welding electrodes are needed to put the part on the platform. Single source of truth. The change we want to bring in the industry is what I tell my younger engineers, is we want to change the principle of working on a rectangular table to working on a circular table. So rather than having the client sitting on one side of the table and we sit on the other side of the table, and you know, early part of my career, in a company I worked in a country I worked in, neither of which will be mentioned, I was told that tables are designed so you can't reach across and grab the other person. We want to change that relationship to a round table. And the way you change that relationship is to ensure transparency. And what the system that is being developed with Dassault Systèmes does is give you that transparency. Because not only do our engineers, our procurement, our management have access to the single source of truth, but so does the owner or the owner's consultant. the regulatory bodies, or anybody associated with that project. So the dashboard that is created is pulling information from the same database. That dashboard can be visualized differently. The client may wish to see the visualization at a very high level, but the client has the ability, because we are ensuring full transparency in the system, the client has the ability of going into the system and formatting that dashboard to see the information that the client, that he or she wants to see. So if the client wants to know what is the progress of the project Tuesday morning, they don't have to come to us and say, can you tell us the progress Tuesday morning? And they don't have to worry, are we actually telling them the truth? Are we hiding information? Because they can do that from the same database, the same single source of truth that has been generated for the project. We are pulling into the system P6 Primavera data. Primavera is the planning tool that is the most commonly used in, not only in our industry, in the upstream oil and gas, but in most industries. So we're pulling in that data. We're pulling in risk dashboards. So we may use RPET or various risk management software. All of that information is coming in. And the system that's been created allows communication. Rather than sending emails, you associate an issue with a tag. So let's say I've got a query on the metallurgy of a seal or metallurgy of a bearing on the pump. So rather than sending an email, I associate a query with that tag, with the pump, and I send out a request for information, or I send out a query. The client, the supplier, will then respond to that query. So I've created a chain of communication, but it's associated with the tag for all times to come. So 5 years later, if you want to know why someone did what they did, you know. So transparency is key to what we're doing, and transparency, we believe, breeds collaboration. Because once you are in a transparent operating environment, once you have changed your rectangular table to the round table, you will collaborate. The system will force you to collaborate. You will have real-time data, live data coming in. You know what the status of each piece of equipment is. So when an expediter goes to a supplier shop to do an expediting, to do an inspection, he or she will upload that information in real time onto the digital twin, and that information through the digital twin is immediately available to everybody. So it's available to the client, it's available to the project manager, it's available for the CEO if he or she chooses to look at the information. So, two key words, collaboration and transparency. Going further, so we've been talking about the use of the 3D digital twin, the 3D experience digital twin during the project phase. But I think we want to go beyond that, because when we do an offshore project or a subsea project, we typically spend 1 million man-hours of effort, sometimes more. Complex projects can go up to 20 million man-hours of effort to design, to procure, and to supervise the building. I'm not including the man-hours related to the actual fabrication. So 1 million hours of effort. After that 1 million hours of effort, what have we done? We have given you, hopefully, a well-designed and well-operating facility, a physical facility. We have given you a digital twin of that facility. A normal digital twin is a static digital twin, not the digital twin we want to do with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And we've given you a container load of documentation. The facility will hopefully operate for the next 30, 40 years. It'll produce revenue, profit for the client for many years to come. The digital twin, 90% of the case, will never be updated. It'll be static on the day it was handed over. So it's like a photograph in black and white, which over time will fade and you'll forget about it. Remember, we've just put 1 million hours of effort into building that digital twin. And the container load of documents, they will become food for rats. Fungus will grow on them, and eventually you'll throw them away. And when you want information, you're going to have to go to a plant operator who's been on that facility for 20 years, who has the information in his bottom right drawer. And when that plant operator retires, the information retires with him. So what we want to do is change that. And there are three key changes we want to bring to the industry. One is to create a true digital twin, not the digital twin that we hear about, just a picture, a 3D picture of the facility, but a true digital twin. A true digital twin is a single source of truth. All information, all data, all documents, anything that you will ever have needed, used, consumed will be in that digital twin. The processes we use, and these are processes in terms of how you run the plant, need to be optimized. Using the platform again, we believe we can either design or use third-party applications to optimize these facilities. So, can I run my compressor at a lower RPM, consume less fuel, and still get the same output? So if I can simulate that using artificial intelligence, using data which is sitting in the digital twin, I can lower the OPEX cost and increase the profitability of a consumer. And people, I love people, I'm part of that group, but when you take people offshore, you are putting people in harm's way, and frankly, it's very expensive. In the North Sea, it costs upwards of €1 million per person per year. And a typical operator in an 8-hour shift or a 12-hour shift, depending on which facility he or she is on, is actually doing 2 to 3 hours of, I don't want to call it useful work, but of work which requires that person to actually do something. And the other 6 or 8 hours are spent looking at a screen, waiting for something to happen. What we want to do is give enough automation using, again, in our world, the 3D, big layered 3D model, the 3D digital twin, will allow you to automate processes. So using the 3D digital twin, you will have enough confidence to take people who are sitting offshore and move them onshore. Not only do we save money, but we have them doing more useful work, and we are letting the intelligence of people feeding into the artificial intelligence systems. The third area we're looking at is use of robotics, and these are not robots you'll see on television with arms and legs. These are basically very simple devices which can do the sort of things that people are doing as routine inspections on offshore platforms or in subsea facilities. All of this is why? Because we now understand, all of us in this room, is that the oil price, the price for gas is down, and it'll stay down. The world is going to start consuming less oil as time goes on, even with the development of countries like India and China. Marginally less gas. Gas probably has longer to run than oil does. But we understand that the industry demands more efficiencies, more productivity, and it demands a sustainable lowering of costs. And we believe that putting a true digital twin in will achieve that. But to go further, what we need to do is to use what we are doing at the design stage and carry it over into the operations phase. So we see the 3DEXPERIENCE platform as being our enabler to efficiently operate, efficiently maintain offshore and subsea facilities. We believe that using digital technologies which are available today, we're not inventing anything, but using digital technologies which are available today, the operators can lower their OPEX and their CAPEX for brownfield by 10 to 15%. And these numbers are not our numbers. These are numbers from Gartner, which is an IT consultancy, which has done surveys over the last 2 years of how to lower operating costs. We believe that the 3DEXPERIENCE platform is unique in the industry in its ability to do this. We went through a very extensive sourcing process until we settle on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And we see in it not only the actual platform, but all of the applications that are used with the platform. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we're not different. We are the same as everyone else in the room. We aren't unique, and we have to learn from all of you in this room. We have to learn from the industry to bring the sort of efficiencies that Amazon has brought to retail, that GE has brought to aerospace, that Tesla is now bringing to the electrical vehicles. All of that technology, all of that efficiency, we need to bring to our industry, and we believe that the 3DEXPERIENCE platform is going to help us in a long way to get there. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.